He looked me in the eyes as he signed the divorce papers. The room was silent, except for the sound of his pen tearing through the paper with contempt. On the other side of the table, his mistress held back a smirk. They thought they had won, that they had thrown me away like a broken, worthless doll. But no one in that room knew what was coming. In that very courtroom, just minutes later, the judge received a sealed envelope, my father's will. And when he read it aloud, everything changed. My name is Hae-jin, the only daughter of one of the most influential men in Gyeongsang in 1902. I was raised surrounded by luxury, but also by strict rules and arranged promises. At 17, my father decided my fate. I would marry Min-jun, the son of an old business partner. At the time, Min-jun seemed like a good match, kind, respectful, intelligent. But behind it all was cold ambition and a hunger for power that no one saw, not even me. During the first months, he was everything expected of a good husband, but the mask fell quickly. Min-jun didn't want a wife. He wanted a stepping stone, my last name, my inheritance, my influence. And when he realized my father was falling ill, he sped up his plans. That's when she appeared, Suwa. Young, beautiful, ambitious. She was a servant in the house of one of our business allies. Soon, she was in our home as Min-jun's assistant. I, naive, thought it was just work, until I found the letter. A letter written by her, full of dirty promises, hidden plans, and one sentence that never left my mind. Once the old woman is out of the way, everything will be ours. My knees gave out that day, but I didn't react. I swallowed the pain, wore silence like armor, and waited. Because while he thought he was fooling me, I was preparing my revenge. What Min-jun didn't know was that my father already suspected everything. Even while ill, he was a strategist. Before he died, he asked to meet me in secret. It was there, in the old family temple, that he gave me a sealed envelope. Do not open it until the day of the divorce. And when it is opened, do not be afraid. The world must see who your husband really is. Confused and afraid, I promised to follow his instructions, and I did. 2 months later, right there in the courtroom, we were seated, Min-jun and Suwa side by side like they owned the world. He signed the divorce papers laughing, said he never loved me, that I was cold, barren, useless. The room filled with muffled laughter. Her friends whispered like hungry hyenas. But then, the judge cleared his throat and silence fell. There is a will registered by Miss Hae-jin's father, a document that must be read before the divorce is finalized. Min-jun's expression faltered for a moment, but he quickly laughed again. The old man is dead. Nothing he says now matters. Oh, how wrong he was. When the judge began to read, the mood shifted. My father had left an unbreakable clause. Any man who marries my daughter and betrays her trust before 2 years of marriage have passed will forfeit any right to inheritance, business holdings, and the family name. Any property or benefit under my daughter's name will immediately revert back to her. Min-jun turned pale. Suwa tried to stand but was restrained. The judge continued. Additionally, all joint business ventures under the couple's name will be dissolved, and any assets under Min-jun's name tied to the family estate will be seized. The blow was devastating. Everything they had planned crumbled in minutes. I watched in silence, my heart racing, but my gaze steady. For the first time, Min-jun couldn't look at me. His mistress wept, and I simply took a deep breath. The revenge was just beginning. We are often led to believe that silence is weakness, But sometimes silence is the soil where vengeance blooms. Never underestimate the power of a wounded woman with time and intelligence. They betrayed me and laughed at me, but today it is my name that will endure. Many people watch until this point but don't subscribe to the channel. That makes all the difference for us to continue telling stories like this one. So subscribe now, like this video, and tell me in the comments, have you ever been betrayed by someone you trusted? Your comment might inspire other women to rise up too. The days following the trial were chaos. Min-jun lost all contracts with my family's allies. His fortune was frozen, his businesses dismantled. Sua vanished. Some said she fled to China. Others swore they had seen her boarding a ship to Japan under a false identity. But I knew it wasn't over yet. My father had taught me that true justice isn't just about taking, it's about exposing, showing the world what really happened. And there was one detail in the will that hadn't been revealed yet. A confidential clause to be read only 30 days after the divorce. A final seal kept in secret by the family lawyer. While I waited, I began rebuilding my life. I moved to my grandmother's old house in the countryside. For the first time in years, I breathed without fear. But something disturbed me. That kind of man doesn't accept defeat. Min-jun's silence was dangerous. It was on a rainy morning that I received a note. No sender, just 2 handwritten lines. You don't know the truth. Find your mother's diary. My hands trembled. My mother had died when I was only 6 years old. I had always been told it was a sudden pneumonia. I had never thought to question it. I returned to the old mansion where I grew up. No one had lived there since the trial. Every room whispered of the past. In the basement, between boxes of clothes and forgotten items, I found a small wooden chest. Inside, a blue-covered notebook, already faded with time. It was her diary. The first pages were tender, talking about me, my childhood, how she loved watching me sleep. But as the dates went on, the tone changed. She wrote of growing fear, of conversations between my father and a mysterious man. And then, on one of the last pages, came the revelation that stole the air from my lungs. Min-jun came to this house when he was just a boy. He is not the son of a business partner. He is the illegitimate son of my own husband. My world stopped. Min-jun was my half-brother? I rushed to the lawyer's office. He hesitated, but after I showed him the diary, he agreed to reveal the final sealed part of the will. It was a handwritten letter from my father. In it, he confirmed everything. If you are reading this, it's because the truth has come out. Yes, Min-jun is of my blood, but the result of a mistake, a lapse I regret every day. I tried to make up for it by giving him opportunities, but he used everything against you. I never imagined he would dare touch your life this way. If he has, he deserves nothing. I felt a mixture of disgust, confusion, and a deep, ancient rage. He had been raised as a hidden enemy inside my own home. And the worst part, he knew everything. Every betrayal, every plan was against his own half-sister. The next night, someone tried to break into my house. I heard the window being forced. I grabbed my grandfather's old hunting rifle and hid behind the door. The intruder's breathing was heavy. I could feel he knew the place well. When the door opened, my heart stopped. It was him, Min-jun. But he looked different. Unshaven, hollow eyes, his face marked by something that wasn't just anger, it was pain. "You read the letter, didn't you?" he said. I nodded silently, fingers steady on the trigger. "I knew you would. One day you'd find out. But I didn't come to fight. I came to end what I started." He threw something on the floor. It was my mother's necklace, the same one that disappeared when she died. It was my father who ordered her silenced. I just watched, and it destroyed me inside. Marrying you was my last attempt to control what had been denied to me. I was in shock. My father? Had he ordered my mother's death? But before I could react, Minjun ran. And outside, a gunshot echoed. I ran to the door. His body lay in the rain, a note pinned to his chest. Forgive me. I was the monster he created.
That rainy night, I stood there, motionless before Minjin's body. I didn't cry. Not for him, but for everything he represented. The secrets, the lies, the ghosts of my family. The police came. The case was closed as suicide. No one questioned it. After all, he had already lost everything: his name, his money, his dignity. And to many, that death was justice. But inside me there was still a hole, because Minjin's final revelation, that my father had ordered my mother to be silenced, was something I needed to confirm. I couldn't begin again without knowing the full truth. I returned to the family mansion one last time. In the office safe, I found another envelope, hidden beneath a false drawer bottom. It was my father's handwriting. A confession, dated 2 days before his death. Hejin, if you ever discover everything, forgive me. I was weak. Your mother found out about Minjin. She said she would tell the truth. In a moment of desperation, I asked one of the servants to take her out of the picture, just for a while. But he went too far, and she died. I never forgave myself. I broke down. My father wasn't the hero I had idealized, but he wasn't a complete monster either. He was a man consumed by the fear of losing what he had built, and lost everything just the same. I decided to sell all the family properties. I left behind the powerful last names, the luxurious halls, the scandals. With the money, I opened a small school for girls in the countryside. I wanted to teach them what no one had taught me: independence, dignity, strength. The first months were difficult. Some families resisted the idea of educating their daughters, but little by little, doors began to open, and I reconnected with who I was before everything. It was during a reading class that he appeared, a tall man with a soft smile and eyes that seemed to carry rare peace. His name was Jihoon. He was a teacher from Seoul, a language specialist, and wanted to volunteer to teach the girls. Suspicious, I asked what brought him to such a forgotten village. He answered firmly, "My father was a merchant. He married a woman who was forbidden from studying. She died not knowing how to write her own name. Ever since, I've taught women to read as a way to honor her." It was the first time in a long time that I felt warmth in my heart. Over time, Jihoon and I grew close. He listened without judgment and never treated me like a broken woman. On the contrary, he treated me as someone admirable. One day, sitting beneath the cherry blossoms, he held my hand and said, "You've suffered enough at the hands of men who tried to control you. I don't want to possess you. I want to walk beside you. And if one day you choose to leave, I'll open the door myself. But if you choose to stay, we'll build something new. No ghosts, just truth." It was the first time in a long time that I cried in relief. After everything I had lived through, I thought I'd never trust again. But Jihoon didn't want to fix my scars. He wanted to walk with me, even with them. Years later, the school had grown. It welcomed girls from all over the region. Some became writers, others community leaders. And my story, it became known. Not as the story of a betrayed woman, but as the story of a woman who turned pain into purpose. Jihoon and I got married. No grand ceremony, no prominent witnesses, just the two of us, hand in hand, before a makeshift altar at the school. That night, he looked at me tenderly and said, "It's not the past that defines you, Hejin. It's the courage you had to face it." And there, under the stars, I knew I had won. You may be betrayed, humiliated, used, but you are never defeated.
as long as you have the courage to begin again. It doesn't matter what they did to you. What matters is what you do with it. The true happy ending isn't finding someone. It's finding yourself, and only then allowing love in without needing to fix anything. If this story touched your heart, subscribe to the channel now. Many people watch until the end, but forget to subscribe, and that makes all the difference for us to keep telling stories like this one. Leave a like, share it with someone who needs to hear this message, and tell me in the comments, do you believe it's possible to start again even after the pain?